Good evening. My name is Maya Simpson. I'm in the Social Work Master's Program, and for this assignment, I chose option C. Option C was to pick a film and do a behavior analysis on the film. The film that I chose was The Color Purple. I'm just getting over the flu. I'm sorry, so just kind of bear with me during this presentation. Um, in the film, I thought it was important to analyze each character and how they played a role in Celia's behavior and her development and who she was as a person. So as the film starts out, Celia is a young African American girl. She's 14 years old and she's pregnant with her second child by her father. So Celia is raped and abused by her father, and when she delivers her children, her father takes her children, he gives them to other people. And Celia basically has no say so in what her father does with her children. She has a younger sister, her name is Nettie. In the film, Nettie is younger than Celia, but she's also portrayed to be Celia's protector. So the film introduces Albert, and Albert first has his eyes set on Nettie. So he goes to Celia's house to ask for Nettie's hand in marriage. Their father says that Nettie can't get married, but he would give him Celia. He describes Celia as being ugly, says that she was no stranger to hard work, and she's been spoiled twice, meaning she's had two children. Albert hesitates and asks their father to let him see Celia. So he said that he would take Celia's hand in marriage. So as they're on their way to Albert's house, Albert rides the horse while Celia carries her own luggage and walks in the cold and in the rain. And so she gets there. Albert introduces Celia to his family and his children as their new mammy. Harpo throws a rock at Celia's head and he makes her bleed. So in the film, Celia and Albert is having sex, and Celia is having one of her daily thoughts to God. God is the only one that she can really express herself to. She shares her hopes and her feelings and her emotions to God as he plays a distant figure in her life. So she had one of her daily thoughts to God, and she wonders, does the lady in the picture enjoy sex with Albert? Because she don't get any excitement from it. So Celia doesn't really experience any domestic abuse just then, but she kind of notices that Albert hits her. He emotionally abuses her, calls her ugly, and makes her just feel low about herself. So Nettie comes to stay with Celia and Albert, and of course Albert agrees because he had his eyes set on Nettie in the beginning. So of course he tries to make his move with Nettie, and she refuses him. But even before that, Nettie wanted Celia to learn how to read and write, so if they were ever to be separated again, then Celia would be able to write her letters so they could keep in contact with each other. So once Nettie refuses Albert, he kicks her out. And he knew that by doing that would hurt Celia, because Nettie was the only family that Celia had. So Celia begs Albert not to kick Nettie out, but instead he throws her out. And in the film, Nettie states that only death can keep me from her. So she runs away, and Celia is left there crying, and she has another one of her thoughts to God. So as the film progresses, Celia is an adult woman, and she's seen crying, and again she has another daily thought to God. And she states that Nettie never writes, and she says that only death can keep me from her, and so she must be dead. So as the film progresses, they introduce Sophia. Sophia is Harpo's fiance, and she comes to meet Albert. Albert insults her, but Sophia stands up to Albert. Sophia is a strong, independent woman. She stands up to anybody who she feels threatened by or who she feels try to dominate over her. So to Celia, this is something new, because Celia only knows how to be submissive to her husband. She's a passive person. She doesn't know how to assert herself or use her voice to be heard. So she gains this friendship with Sophia, and Harpo doesn't know how to handle Sophia because she's such an assertive woman. So he asks Albert to give him advice on how to control Sophia. And Albert states that Sophia just needs a good south beating. So Harpo asks Celie what should he do. And Celie states, beat her. So as the film goes on, Sophia's coming towards Celie and she says, you told Harpo to beat me. And she said, all my life I had to fight. I had to fight my uncles, I had to fight my brothers, I had to fight just people in general. And I think they emphasized the word fight as her way of being such a strong woman and knowing who she was as a person. And that was the only behavior that Celie knew. That's all she knew. So that's where I kind of want to use the person and environment theory to explain Celie's behavior, how she was submissive to Mister. She used her silence as a way of her survival. And being mistreated and abused and raped, that's all Celie knew. That's all she really knew as a teenager on up into her adult years when dealing with Albert and his ways. So as the film progresses, they introduce Shug Avery. Shug Avery is this sexy blues singer, and she's what some may call a free spirit. And she's also Albert's mistress. In the film, Celie and Shug develop a friendship, and Celie sees Shug Avery as being a mentor in her life, someone who she can, besides God, tell her feelings and her emotions to. One night, they're in a room, and she tells Celie to smile, as to which Celie covers up her smile and says that she was ugly. And Shug Avery states, that you're not ugly and you should shake your stuff and be a woman and be who you are and live in your truth. So Celie asks Shug Avery, does she enjoy being intimate with Albert? And Shug Avery implies that she enjoys having sex with Albert and asks Celie, does she enjoy it? And she said no, she just laid there and she was like, it feels like she's being urinated on by a dog. And Shug states, well, Miss Celie, that still means you're a virgin. And she would mean that she was a virgin, so I kind of took that as a way of saying that she was a virgin and Celie could recreate herself and be who she wanted to be. She could rewrite her life and just do whatever Celie wanted to do. So Shug Avery gets ready to leave because she's going to go to Tennessee so she can do her blues music. And Celie wants to go. And as she's getting ready to leave, she asks Celie, is it something that you want to say? And Celie couldn't say nothing. She just was silent. She didn't know how to use her voice and be heard. Because at that moment, Celie could have escaped living with Albert. So Shug Avery leaves. And as the film progresses, she comes back. And when she comes back, it's during Christmas time. And again, Celie's having one of her daily thoughts to God, and she says it's Christmas, and I still haven't got any letters from Nettie. So, Celie and Nettie stumble upon, I don't know, it was a lot of letters that Nettie had wrote to Celie that Albert had hid from her. So, she's reading these letters, and Nettie is telling about her adventures in Africa and all the things that she's done while she's been away from Celie. And I think at that moment, that's where her rage came towards Albert. So they're sitting at the dinner table, and Celie basically goes off on Albert. And she tells him how he's made her life just so horrible, his children. And she finally tells him that she's going to leave. And he states that she wasn't going anywhere. So Celie finally gets up enough courage to leave Albert. And with that being said, I use the feminist theory to explain that. I take Sophia and Suge Avery as being what Celie needed to find herself and find her voice to be the person that she needed to be. She escaped the harsh realities of domestic abuse, being verbally abused, emotionally abused, and not being able to be who she wanted to be. Um, and I know we were supposed to use two theories, but I also used the sister theory because I wanted to explain how when Celie left, the whole family system diminished. It was two subsystems. You had the family subsystem, and then you had the children subsystem. Albert and Celie was the marital system, and then they had the children. Um, they were told to obey Albert and his every command to do what he wanted to do. And so once Celie left, the whole system just diminished. And in truth, Albert needed Celie way more than Celie needed Albert. So I think the film The Color Purple was all about women liberation and finding who you are and to be who you are. That's what I really learned about that film, and that's what I also learned about Celie, that she didn't let what she went through define her, but she still found her own voice and to be who she was as a person. Um, and that concludes my presentation. Thank you so much. Again, I'm Maya Simpson, and I am in the School of Social Work. Thank you.